Alright guys, let's do fanny packs, alright, because they're awesome and it shows that you're comfortable in your manhood. Alright, so there's a lot of different options out there. There's some of the more noteworthy ones are the Emdom waste bag. Alright, this one's been around for a good while. The Eagle waste bag. A couple of the popular ones out right now I don't have, so I don't have the Spiritus Systems one. I'd love to give that a shot. I just haven't. Clearly I don't really have a need for another one right now. And the one from Arbor Arms, the Nut Ruck. I haven't tried that one. That looks pretty awesome because it's got a legit holster on it as well. So for like a fob type bag, that thing looks pretty sweet. All right, so I kind of just want to show some of the features on here. These are all very, very similar. We'll show a couple outliers and kind of my thoughts. So I don't have any of these loaded out except for the American one over here because you can really use them for whatever you want. All right, you can put some E&E type stuff in them. You can put snacks in them. You can use them as an IFAC. There's so many different options that I'm not going to be able to cover everything, and I'm not going to be able to say, yes, this will fit in that bag, no, it won't fit in that bag. Something I probably could have brought out is a pistol to show you if that fits in there, if that's something that you're interested in, but I neglected to, and I apologize. All right, so we'll just kind of go through these one by one. I'll tell you what they are, and then kind of what I like about them and what I don't like about them. All right, so right off the bat, we've got kind of an odd one here. Most people won't be aware of this one because it's made by Emerson Gear. All right, I am not here to triumph the quality of knockoff gear. However, every once in a while, these replica gear companies, these Chinese knockoff companies, will come up with their own product, or at least as far as I know, this isn't a copy of anything. All right, so Emerson Gear, it is a Chinese company. It is airsoft gear. But I wanted a gray fanny pack, and this was one of the easiest ones to find. All right, it's pretty affordable, and I used it for 6 months without any issues whatsoever. So some of the cooler features on this thing that I really like is it's got the tri-glide on each side, so you in theory can take off the waist strap and direct attach it to something. If you wanted to tie it off to your plate carrier, you could do that. If you wanted to mount it to your duty belt, you could do that as well. You just have to get a little bit creative with it. So it's got 2 front pockets. The main pocket here, and I apologize, I don't know how well this is going to show up, has an elastic sleeve on the outer face. That works really well for keeping your keys or smaller items in there, especially keys, so they're not tearing up anything else that's in there. I use this one for the gym. And then it's got a pocket on the back, so you could keep your wallet in there or something that you wanted segregated, maybe your phone, so the screen's not getting all chewed up. And then on the back, it's got a pass-through in this spacer mesh that goes all the way through. So if you wanted to use it as like a medical bag or something like that, you could run your duty belt right through there. And then you wouldn't have to mess around with having a redundant strap, which is really my only complaint about fanny packs in general, is it's another strap going around your body. But yeah, that's the Emerson, and then you get a little Velcro tab there. Moving on to another outlier. This is made by Initial Attack. They're a company more or less out of Boise, Idaho. What I like about this one is not much, but it's big. It's really, really big for a fanny pack. It has the same general setup as everything else out there. It's got one main pocket and then one front pocket, but you can see there's no organization in there. There's no back face pocket, and it's got a pretty hardy strap. So this one gets in the way a little bit more, especially with this giant buckle on it. But it makes a decent waste bag for med kit if you need a lot of it, or breaching supplies. Granted, no organization, so making it do what you want it to do is not the easiest thing. And for whatever reason, even though this is the same quality of Cordura as the rest of them, it is really floppy. It has almost no body, which makes it even more difficult with no organization. I want to throw this one out there because it's not a commonly known one. So this is the Celtic Warbler, I believe is what it's called. It does have a little bit of reflective material on there, so go ahead and scratch that off, or put some duct tape over it or something like that. The side stuff isn't nearly as bad. It's got a pretty thin waist belt. I don't know why they didn't color match, but they didn't. If the color on here is a little wonky, this is a very good brown. It matches multicam really well. It would go with Marpat fine, so it's not going to stand out in uniform. And then it's gray lined, so you can see into it a little bit better than some of these. It's got a little keyring retainer right there, and then the main body opens up really big. Again, no organization though, but they are super affordable. I think, no discounts, no sales or anything like that. I think I paid $17 for this before shipping, so pretty affordable. And that's the Celtic Warbler. Then you got the tried and true Eagle waste bag there. These things, whether they're good or not, may not be the best option because they can be a little tricky to find, and they can be super pricey when you find them because they have some weird kind of collectible value to them. But again, it's your two-pocket design. The front pocket on this thing, while it has some depth to it, is very tiny. That's like an Altoid tin size pouch there. So you're not going to get a lot in there, but you might be able to go 2 stack on that. And then it does have a rear face zipper. I lost my toggle on this one, so it's not the easiest to use, but it's a pretty shallow pocket back there. And then it's got a 1-inch webbing strap on it with a side release buckle. The side release buckle is pretty common on all of these, as well as the size of the strap. Here we've got the Csm Gear Waste Bag. This one is more or less a copy of the Eagle. It's got the same back pocket, same shallow pocket there. No internal organization, 2-pocket design. It doesn't have the drain holes like the Eagle does, but it does have, again, a side release buckle, and yeah, essentially a more readily available copy of the Eagle. The Emdom is where we start looking at a good bit of additional features. All right, looking at it now, it's very similar in features to the Emerson, but not necessarily the same shape or build design, I guess. So it's a 2-pocket, and the front pocket is very similar to the Eagle. Once you get into the main body pocket, though, you have a mesh organizer in there. You've got a couple tie-down loops if you've got something sensitive you're carrying in there. Maybe you've got your GPS in there or something like that. You've got a back pocket, very similar size to the Eagle. And then you've got a MOLLE mounting there. So this one, in theory, you could take the waist belt off using these ladder locks and mount it directly to like groin armor or something like that, which again I'm a fan of because it removes some of that redundancy there. And then you've got your side release buckle on there. All right. And then we've got America. All right, so but a good buddy of mine sent me this on the last deployment. Sent us a care package with one for everybody. And this is the only one of these that I've actually got loaded up. I like it. It's got double zippers there, so it's real easy to get into. The company, if you're wondering, is Sojourner Bags. These are not made in America, and I was a little hesitant about that. The material felt really really goofy when I got it, but it broke in nicely, and I haven't had any issues. I probably wear this more than anything because I take it out on the range with me, and it's got all my stuff for that. So it's got a front entry pocket here, which, while small, holds a good bit of pipe tobacco, pipe, and matches. And then I got a lighter in there as well, and some chapstick. All right. This main pocket here, I've got my range sustenance, some Carmex, some Pedialyte, which is especially helpful when you get those range headaches, some Halls, and some powdered drinks in there, an emergency in case I'm feeling real crummy out on the range. It'll hold a good sized tube of sunscreen, and then it's got a small pocket on the back, at least small as far as entry. It goes all the way out to the sides though, so you can get your stuff lost in there pretty well. And then one honorable mention that I want to show is the Tactical Tailor dangler here. This is not a dangler video by any stretch, but in their design of this thing, they have essentially made it into a fanny pack as well if you're wearing a belt, because they've got this reversible mounting so that it'll fit any plate carrier, because you can flop the orientation there. If you just take this piece off, you can actually run your duty belt through those loops. A buddy of mine actually uses this as a like a weak side tool pouch on his belt, which I thought was pretty creative. It works really well, and it stays more or less in line with the belt. This is probably the most compact in height, and if you've never seen this thing, it's got elastic retention devices on opposing sides of this thing, as well as the front MOLLE daisy chain. You can also ditch the mounting altogether and use these side tabs here, in theory, to tie it off to whatever you want to tie it off to. But yeah, the Tactical Tailor, that one's also super affordable. None of these are overly expensive by any stretch, other than the Eagle, which I have seen go for over $100, again because of that goofy collectible value. The most expensive for MSRP is probably the Emdom, which is, I've had this one for years, so I don't remember where it is anymore, but I think it can get up to about $60. So I appreciate the time. Hopefully you guys learned something about fanny packs. If you've got a favorite, please let me know. If you really recommend the Spiritus, let me know about that too. I'd love to give it a chance. And if you've tried the Nut Ruck and used it as a holster, please let me know, because that one I think is on the top of my list for things to try. All right, thanks guys.